Hey guys, back at you with another video, and of course, like I said before, I decided to go out game hunting and decided to visit some GameStop retros. We went to 4 stores in the city, and I was pretty happy with what I found. Not only did I find some retro games, but of course I found some modern games that I was looking for, so definitely look forward to showing you guys that later in the video. So I want to say we started out the hunt pretty early. I think we left around, 10 o'clock, and that may be late for some people, but that's early for us over here. We went to the GameStop that I showed in the last video, and I wanted to kind of pick up a couple titles there that I didn't get last time, and they had a little sale going on, so I said, you know what, let me go and get these games now. So got those games on the cheap, and then headed to the GameStop Retro, which is one of the stores I had never been to. I've been to one GameStop Retro, but I haven't been to these other ones. And the ones that we went to, they were like near each other, so it was great. But anyways, we went into the store, and man, it was big. I hadn't been there in quite a few years, and I was kind of just taking it all in, because that store really simplifies how GameStop should be. You know, a big store full of all kind of games. You know, you never know what you're gonna find, and it's like a thrill. A lot of the GameStops today are closing because they don't have a lot of thrills in them. You know, they don't have a lot of product. They're always talking about, hey, did you pre-order this item when you came in? Oh, we didn't get it if you didn't pre-order. So they're it's just there's no real thrill going to those stores. That might be a big reason why they're shutting down. But with them shutting down, that'll give them a chance to make this GameStop or these more popular GameStop stores even better. You know, it doesn't, I mean, this is the type of store that you could go into. You don't need to pre-order everything, which is nice. You know what I mean? Like you'll pretty much find a title you never heard of, on the shelf, no out of stock, just a plethora of games, which is what we want when we visit these type of stores. Now I want to give a shout out to my buddy Ron, because he handed me a game that I've been looking for the PS5 for pretty much ever since it came out. But I thought, I would find it, on a sale, because I wanted to pay a bit cheaper, but the game ended up selling out. And come to find it, this GameStop had a complete copy of it, so happy about that. I don't know if I would have found it, because I wasn't really looking at PS5 stuff pretty hard. I always look at Switch and PS4 and any retro stuff usually that they have. PS5 is almost an afterthought sometimes, but thank goodness he was with me, because I might have walked out on this one. But I will show that game at the end of the video, as well as other pickups. But this being the second GameStop we went to, I was feeling the surge of energy. I was pumped up. I was like, wow, dude, this is the second store we went to, and it's like this. I was feeling pretty good. So took my time, looked around here. I did find Punch-Out for the Wii, but I already own that game. But it was pretty cheap considering what it's going for. I think GameStop had it for $30. The Switch selection was pretty solid. I think any Switch collector would come to this store and be pretty impressed, and they would find a lot of games they probably want to add to their collection. I looked through it thoroughly, and I couldn't find anything I really wanted to pick up that I didn't already have. Now, this is definitely a GameStop I could come back to probably and visit on the regular. And when I say regularly, I mean, I'm talking about maybe twice a month. I'm not trying to come to I'm not trying to go game hunting every single day of the week or nothing like that. But when I do go hunting, I feel like it'll be special, because I don't do it too often. But being a little bit on the cheaper end, I feel like I'm going to wait for those sales to happen. Buy 2, get 1 free. That's where it's at when it comes to GameStop. I love when they do those deals. You really get a bargain for your money when you do that. But seeing this selection of Switch games, I think I should do a Switch video here pretty soon of my collection of games. And then we take a look at the Xbox games. I feel like this is a selection of games that people kind of ignore. I feel like the Xbox and Xbox Series X are good systems. I have an Xbox One. I'll probably get a Xbox or Series X soon. I don't know when, but I do have some games for it just when I do get it. But a fantastic system, and you can see the selection of games. Anybody can start a great collection. But it's unfortunate that Microsoft is taking the Game Pass only route. I wish they would have kind of just focus on both, because I like Xbox being a competition to Sony and Nintendo. Keeps everybody on their toes, but now they're leaving, it really just is kind of lame. So overall, this store was a pretty fun visit, and I can't wait to come back here later on in the month. But now we got to move on to our next store, which is probably the best store out of this whole video. Alright, so this GameStop Retro was in the mall, and they had a really nice setup here. As you can see, all the systems and their logos, they were ready to go and very visible. Now you can see some games didn't have their original covers, and I blame GameStop for that back in the day. They would throw out covers, and and manuals just to save room or whatever like that. I still can't believe they did that back in the day, but I like what I saw here. You know, hopefully some of you guys are impressed with this. You know, I thought like this is the way it should look when you walk into a GameStop retro store. You know, it was very welcoming. And then you see like new retro type games for the chromatic. I haven't talked about the chromatic yet. I was going to talk about it in a previous GameStop video, but I'll leave that for next time. But still pretty cool that they're selling those games here as well. And just to let you guys know, the chromatic games are only playable on the chromatic system itself. You can't even play it on the Game Boy. I didn't know that. But I did pick up a couple of games here, and you see the systems here. You got the Game Boy Color, NES games, the Wii Mini. A lot of people haven't seen that system. And then here's what really impressed me too. They had some limited run games here. I didn't know limited run had already worked their games into the GameStop stores here. So I was pretty impressed with that. They were up high, so I couldn't really see them. But still, it's nice to know that, you know, limited runs, I guess their leftovers are being put into GameStop stores. But now, on to the next GameStop location. So this GameStop was pretty cool. I would say they didn't have as much as the previous GameStop Retro, but they did have different stuff. So it was nice going here, and it was nice that these stores were near each other. I think they were about, driving-wise, it's probably like 8 minutes apart. They did have some limited run stuff that I could see that was on the bottom floor, thankfully, but not as much as the previous store. I was tempted to get the PS1 Destruction Derby, but I already had a long box of that version, so no need to buy that game again, even though it was like a variant. We probably stayed in this store, probably, I wouldn't say, around 10-15 minutes. I did find some DS games here that I didn't have, so I went ahead and picked those up. And I really took my time looking around this store just in case there was something I might have missed. But what was funny here, they actually had that system, if you guys remember on Jason's channel, the Retro Champ. They're selling like these retro systems by like companies like My Arcade, which I thought was pretty cool. But but I thought this was the last store we were going to go to, but we ended up going to one more GameStop to find some cool games. By the time we got to this next GameStop, it was at nighttime, and my phone was running low on battery, so I didn't get much footage here, but I did find some decent games to take home to the collection. Now we're going to get to the part where you guys see the pickups. Probably your favorite part in the video, but overall, I just want to let you guys know I had a great time going out game hunting. We didn't just go to GameStop. We went to a couple other stores too because they were on the way. But GameStop Retro was the main focus, and I'm glad I went out to the other stores. But now, guys, your favorite part, the pickups. The King of Monsters Part 2. I was ecstatic to see this in a GameStop case, and the game, of course, was on the cheap. So pick this up with a quickness, and you know, compared to the first game, I feel like I like this one better because it feels more like a beat 'em up. The first game was more of a versus, but this one is definitely, to me, the cooler version. Now I remember having this game on the Genesis too, but I think that one plays more like the first game. I can't remember; it was really nerfed down though. But Super Nintendo version is on point, and I'm just happy to have this game in the collection. This kind of like will inspire you to kind of go out to some of these GameStop retros and see what they have. And I know what you guys are going to ask next. Is this a real copy of the game? Well, I had my tool with me. I opened it up, and yes, it was the real board. Not that this game is super expensive, but that tool is something you might want to carry around with you when you go to some of these GameStop retro stores, just in case. I'm not sure if they stepped it up with checking if games are repros. I mean, I've heard stories of them knowing games are repros, and they just want to sell them at a cheaper price. But still, for those that are paying top dollar on stuff, you want to have that tool with you, ready to go. It's been quite a few years since I played Hery Gertie, and this is I want to say a sheep simulator in a way. Like you're herding like sheep, but they're not called sheep in this game. They're called bleeps. And when you're kind of herding them back to their spaces, you have to beware of this animal called the gromp. The gromp, if he wakes up and sees you, he'll come after you, take you out, or kill the bleeps. So you just got to be careful of that. It's actually pretty cool how the game looks. It looks like a cartoon in a way, the way they did the graphics on this one. I mean, I think it was ahead of its time back in the day, but the problem with this game was the load times into new areas. It was really annoying. It kind of took you out of the game how long the load times were. It's just like they could have did a better job with the load times, but they did do something special with this game. It did get pretty above average ratings with the crowd, but I don't think it sold well. So you don't really see too many creative games like this anymore. But definitely, if you see it for this price I got it for, keep your eye out for this one. It kind of lets you know like the unique ideas they had for a lot of games during the PS2 era. Mortal Kombat vs. DC, also known as Mortal Kombat 8. I decided to pick this up from the first GameStop we went to, which was actually the last GameStop we went to in the previous video, and I kind of left it behind. You know, going through the story mode of this game brings back a lot of memories. You know, it is corny as hell, but I gotta admit, this game has the best version of Shang Tsung. He is freaking like insanely hilarious, and I love his fighting style in this game. I don't really care for the DC characters, the way they looked in this game. They kind of went with the old school look, which is just played out. Definitely, I think this is an interesting fighting game, and I feel like this game would have got a lot more support if it hadn't been for Midway falling under. But definitely check this one out if you see it at your local store.
At least they were more of a challenge than your masters.
Do not test me, Shang Tsung! I should have killed you at the academy!
What stopped you?
Shang Tsung, your treachery ends here!
Round 1, fight!
How can this be? You are more powerful than before! I was weakened when last we fought, but energies are in constant flux as a result of the merging. Now I am revitalized, surging with power. I could finish you right now!
You wanna finish? You got it!
Leave him. He is defeated. Now you face a more deadly adversary.
You defeated him. You defended me.
It was not something which I enjoyed.
I owe you my gratitude.
Save your pathetic graciousness. Were it not for Dark Khan, I would kill you now. Our objective is complete. We must return to the others.
Here's Juiced Part 2. Now, this was the last game in the series, and I don't know like why they didn't make any more games after this one. You know, maybe this one flopped. But I know the Juice series was kind of like compared to Need for Speed Underground series. They were kind of like rivals to each other. What I remember most about this game when I watched friends play it was the drift chains. The drift chains looked pretty fun and insane to pull off. But I do remember some of the character models for like some of the women. Like they tried to like push like a little bit of like sexiness or whatever like that. It just didn't work in this game. They looked robotic and weird. But other than that, I thought the racing and drifting looked very good. So that's why I'm interested in the series. I'm finally going to play it for myself. I did find out there was a PS3 version of Juice 2. So you guys let me know if that one is worth getting over the PS2 one. Here's Homefront The Revolution, the sequel to the original Homefront game. While the original game, to me, was awesome, it had a short campaign that I really enjoyed. But it kind of fell flat from other things like online and just, I don't know, just kind of keeping the game active or whatever. But part 2, I wanted to give a chance because obviously it was $5. And I'm hoping for something pretty good here. I think the studio who helped make this were the same people who made Dead Island Part 2. So hopefully that'll be a good thing going into this game. But not really much to say about it. You know, I'm hoping that it kind of concludes the series in a way, or I don't know, maybe it opens up for a better sequel. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, Homefront Revolution. Let me know what you think. Bust a Move Universe. Not really much to say about this one besides it's a Bust a Move game, so I'm pretty sure the 3DS version is going to have a lot of 3D effects that are kind of cool, but nothing really special outside the other games. But of course I picked this one up because it was on the cheap. I picked up Iron Man just because, you know, next to Bust a Move at the time, you know, when I saw the Sega logo on it, I thought it might be pretty good. Now, I looked at the reviews for this game and they weren't too kind. But I felt like for the price it was going for, you know, I could take a chance on it. And if it interests me, I'll let you guys know in a later video. But for that price, that is the reason I got it. I'm hoping that it's a solid game, but I'll let you know in a future video. Kill Switch was a popular game back when it first came out, I remember. The whole take cover, take aim like system really, like, I don't know, like, it really resonated with a lot of people. I myself, I wasn't really too interested with it back in the day. I remember I was playing a bunch of other games at the time, so it kind of went under my radar. But I did play it eventually, and I did like it. I think I actually have the Game Boy Advance version of the game. You guys could believe that version is out. But I wanted to pick this one up and try it again. So if you guys kind of vaguely, well, like hopefully remember this game, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Here's Jet Li's Rise to Honor. Now, this came about with Jet Li's popularity in America, which at the time I think it was at its height when this game came out. I remember, I know Jet Li, I know he was in Lethal Weapon 4, but I didn't really pay attention to that movie. The movie that I remember him the most from is A Legend, which is probably called something else in China. But when he fought the general, I thought that was an awesome scene. But this game like goes off of kind of like a lot of the stunts he did in his movies with fight scenes. So don't know too much of the story just of yet. But I know the game became a greatest hit, so a lot of people liked it. Now, they never made a sequel to it. I guess because its popularity had probably died down in America. I think the last movie I saw Jet Li in was that one movie where he was kind of like a caged slave with Bob Hopkins and Morgan Freeman. I can't remember what it was called. Unleashed, that's what it was called. That movie was awesome. That movie just needed a couple more fight scenes from him in that, and I think that movie would have been awesome. But the fight scene he went against that hitman or that assassin at the end when they were knocking each other through walls and him jumping across buildings and stuff, it was pretty insane. But yeah, Rise to Honor, no, I haven't talked about it too much as a gameplay because I haven't really played it yet, but it's something that I know it uses both analog sticks to fight, so interested in trying that out. Here's X-Men Next Dimension. Now, you know what's cool about this game is that it is actually X-Men Mutant Academy Part 3, the versus fighting game. I had no idea that this was a sequel to that series. And what's cooler about this one, with X-Men 97 just releasing, this one goes off of the saga Zero Tolerance. So that makes this even cooler to have. So I'm looking forward to seeing like how the story's played throughout this game. But yeah, guys, I would say, you know how I feel about fighting games. In playing this one, I feel like it was ahead of its time too. So definitely check this one out. It's on the cheap and definitely worth having in my opinion.
Heart is what wins battles.
Here's Happy Funland. Yes, this is a VR 2 game, and I don't have a VR myself, but I plan on using Jason's when I go to his house, so I'll take the game over there and play it. But, you know, it seems like a horror version of Disneyland, Happy Funland, so the theme park is abandoned, it's got a lot of creepiness going on with it, and I think that's like a cool idea for a VR game, so I'm looking forward to trying this one out, and if you guys have played it, let me know what you think of it as well.
Thanks for entering my head.
In the middle of a South Florida swamp. Perhaps if you had known of the grisly events that happened there, you wouldn't have agreed to the job.
Not for
Florida's happiest and funnest theme park.
Haunted House is, I believe, a remake of an old Atari game. And, you know, one thing I was hoping with this game was they would have the original game unlockable, but who knows if that game is still playable these days. But anyways, this is a roguelike adventure game where you have to use stealth mechanics to get through a haunted house to rescue your friends. There's areas where you have to be really quiet and get around certain enemies without being seen. And there's areas where you have to like deal with traps, so you have to be careful of all that stuff. So far, I like it. You know, I'm in the beginning of the game, but I wish it had some kind of co-op with it. I think that would be pretty cool. But other than that, it seems pretty solid. Midnight Club Los Angeles Complete Edition. Yes, this is the definitive version of that game. It comes with DLC on the disc, thankfully. You guys remember when I used to do that back in the day? Like DLC on the disc? Like, awesome. But this is probably my favorite racing game next to Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. This game just really like set the standard for what a racing game should be. Like the free roam, the races, it was just like, oh man, it's just really well done. You guys have to play this game. I don't think Rockstar will make another game like this because they're too focused on Grand Theft Auto. Like, Grand Theft Auto has kind of ruined the company in a way that they won't make anything else. You know, that's the only thing that's going to really make them the big money. If they try to make a sequel to this, man, I don't know if anybody really will pay attention to it. Or they would, but it wouldn't make the money they want to make. So it's kind of unfortunate. But what they left us with is a great racing game that everybody should try. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for this video. As far as the item that I got at one of the first Gamestops I was going to show you in this video, I'm going to hold off and I'm going to save that for the next pickups video, which is pretty much right around the corner. But I had a great time going out game hunting, and I think you guys should too. Look for those great deals, build up your collection to what you want it to be, but most of all, enjoy playing these games. I feel like there's a lot of gems out there that people don't know about. And if you want to get a physical of them, I think now is the time to do it at a lot of GameStop stores now that they're pushing the retro out there. I'll be doing a couple more GameStop videos. There were a couple topics I wanted to talk about that I hadn't got to yet. So look forward to those videos in the future. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. The Radical One, and I will see you all later.